Today is Film Friday. I'm kicking off a weekly series of films covering everything you need to know about getting started in film photography. Over the next 4 Fridays, we'll be shooting a range of cameras and films, developing that film at home, scanning and post-processing. Right now though, let's start at the beginning. Every film has a unique character and look, a personality. From the classic salt and pepper grain of Kodak Tri-X to the punchy sharp fine detail of T-Max, the vibrant colour of Fuji Velvia slide film, to the modern natural look of Kodak Portra designed for today's scanners. And there are as many camera varieties as there are films. These iconic mechanical machines were built to last a lifetime, and they're a joy to use and even customise. There's something immensely satisfying about starting with a canister or a roll of fresh film, shooting and processing a tangible medium into something unique. And beautiful film grain, from finely detailed to bold and crunchy, lends film a timeless classic look. Sure, you can approximate these looks with filters, but why fake it when the real thing has never been so accessible? Used cameras are abundant and film sales are on the rise. So those are some of the main reasons I like to shoot film alongside digital today. It's just about the joy of being able to mix things up and enjoy photography in different ways. Let's break things down into 4 categories. Film types, some example cameras, developing, and scanning and sharing. So let's start with the 4 most common film types. Color negative. By far the easiest place to start, color negative film is widely available, cheap and easy to use. When developed, you get a negative image which is inverted to make a positive. Black and white negative. Classic black and white film has been around for over a century. I love that you can shoot today the exact same way somebody might have 100 years ago. It's the perfect film to learn to develop yourself at home with very minimal fuss and gear. Slide film was once the professional's choice. Developed, it yields a positive image, favoured for years by print publications, which can also be projected. It's widely available, though considerably more expensive and challenging to use than negative film. Lastly, there's instant film, the most famous of which has to be the iconic Polaroid print. Uniquely, this film creates a print straight from the camera. In recent years, it's enjoying a huge revival, with modern versions and new cameras being made to replace the discontinued originals. All of these films come in a choice of sizes. The most commonly used size today is 35mm, also called 135. It comes rolled into cases so it's easy to load and typically has 24 to 36 photos per roll. Going up in size is 120 roll film, also called medium format. This size represents a big step up in resolution. It requires larger cameras to use. Stepping up again is 4x5 inch film that comes on individual sheets that must be loaded into cases for shooting. Anything this size or larger is called large format. It requires even larger cameras to use. The last important characteristic of film is its speed. Put simply, a film's speed rating is a measure of the film's sensitivity to light, represented by a number. It's ISO. ISO 100 is perfect for sunny days, whereas faster, more light-sensitive film is great for dark interiors. If all of that seems like a lot of information, don't worry, I'll be breaking it down in future videos with examples. Right now I'd like to talk about cameras. You can't shoot film without having a film camera, and there are hundreds to choose from. So I'm just going to use a few of mine as examples. First up, the Olympus Trip 35. This camera is simplicity itself. It was such a successful design that it was sold in its millions for almost 20 years. You simply select the film speed and a built-in meter ensures great photos. It has a superb 40mm lens, a great viewfinder and a simple 4-zone focusing system. It's a great first film camera. Next up, the Olympus OM1. Once you're comfortable with an automated camera like the Trip, the next natural step is an SLR. The OM1 is simple to use. You just set your ISO and you adjust your shutter speed or aperture, and a built-in light meter controls a needle in the viewfinder that tells you when you're correctly set. Interchangeable lenses mean you can choose anything from wide angle to telephoto, and full manual control puts you in charge. You can think of stepping up to an SLR like taking the stabilizing training wheels off your first bike. Yes, you're going to have some accidents and the camera's not going to stop you, but you're also going to have a lot more creative freedom, and it's where you'll start to really learn. Next up is the Hasselblad. You can see right away that it's bigger. It's a medium format camera that shoots 120 roll film. NASA used these cameras on the moon. It takes a little more practice to use a camera like this, but the principles are all exactly the same. The only difference here is that there's no automation, so you need to use a separate light meter. Fortunately, there are phone apps that do a great job of this, and with practice, you'll find it easy. Last up is an instant camera. This is a classic Polaroid SX70 which folds almost completely flat. It's one of a number of options you have if you want to shoot instant film today. Once we've been out and shot that film, it has to be developed so that we can share it. Starting with the simplest, 35mm negatives can be developed and scanned by your local chemist or drugstore inside an hour. Learning to develop black and white film yourself is very straightforward and forgiving. It's a real kick the first time you shoot a roll, come home and develop it yourself and see those images on the strip. I'll be talking you through this right here in this series. If you're building up to developing your own film, your option for black and white and the other film types is simply to Google your nearest professional photo lab and either post them the exposed film or drop them in. The last part is scanning. If you've taken your film to a lab or a drugstore, they can simply scan it for you when they develop it and give you your digital images on a memory stick or a CD. If you're really getting into this though, and my guess is that you will do, the way forward is to invest in a scanner which can scan different sizes of film. I'd suggest something like the Epson V800 as a great starting point. It comes with different mounts for different sizes of film and it gives you complete control over the whole process. If all of that seemed like a lot of information, I promise it will make sense as we start to break it down over the next 4 Fridays. Starting next Friday, we'll be going out and shooting film cameras and different types of film. The following Friday, we'll be developing that at home, then scanning it, and then processing it to share. I hope you enjoyed this introduction to film. I'll be around on the YouTube channel and in the comments to help out. Check back in. I look forward to next Friday going out, shoot some film and have some fun. Thank you.